All right, got a couple things I'm going to teach during this. The first thing I'm going to teach is multiplying by multiples of 10. So when I talk about that, we're talking about stuff like this. So we start with 6 times 4. And as I'm writing these down, I want you to write these down and try to solve them. And 6 times 40. 6 times 400, and then 60 times 400. So if you weren't able to write these down, go ahead and write them down in your notes now, and then push play again when you're ready to move forward. All right, so let's talk about solving these. We know that 6 times 4 is 24. And you might look at 6 times 40 and say, oh, well, 6 times 4 is still 24, and then I just add a 0. My question is, are we really just adding a 0? Okay, so are we really just adding a 0? Because if we were, wouldn't it look like this? And that just equals 24. So we're not really adding the 0. What we're doing is we're multiplying our answer by 10. Because if you look, our 4 has really been multiplied by 10. All right, so we're not adding a 0, we're multiplying our answer by 10. Okay, so then now if we're looking at our next one, again, you're looking at 6 times 4, but we've taken our 4 and we've multiplied it by 100. So when we take our answer and we multiply it by 100, we get 2400 or 2400. Okay, now on this last one, you can look at it a couple different ways. You can look at it as 60 times 400, or you can look at it as 6 times 400, which you just told me was 2400. Okay, and then we multiplied that 6 times 10 more. So you would multiply your 2400 times 10, which would give you another 0 at the end, and it would make it 24,000. Okay, so we really want to change the way we look at these, and we need to remember that we're not really adding a 0. Okay, remember, this is what adding a 0 would look like. Instead, what you need to look at is, yes, we've got the 4, but we multiplied our 4 times 10 to end up making it 40. All right, so let's do another one together. Go ahead and write these down, and then you can pause the video and solve it if you want. So we're going to do a 9 times 7, a 9 times 70, 9 times 700, and then a 90 times 700. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and solve those. All right, so we've got 63, and then 630, and then 6,300 or 6,300. And then remember, when we get down here, it is the same problem as the one above it. It is going to give us 6,300, but we multiplied our 6,300 times 10 because our 9 is no longer 9, it's a 90. So when we multiply anything times 10, it gets the extra 0 at the end. Okay, just like if you look, we multiplied our 7 times 10, and that gave us 70, which gave it another 0 here, which in turn gave our answer the extra 0. We didn't add the 0. We multiplied our answer by 10 when our multipliers were done by 10. All righty, so that's multiplying by multiples of 10. And honestly, guys, as long as you're remembering that we're not adding, this is not magic, we need to really just look at what the problem is asking us. Then you're welcome to use the shortcut of looking at the zeros and then adding those zeros to the end of your answer. Okay, but remember, you're not adding them. It's because you're multiplying by that power of 10. All right, so as long as you can understand that, I'm good to go with you guys just looking at the zeros. So we're going to do a couple more just to make sure you understand. Okay, I want you to go ahead and write these down and solve them. Three times 60. We're going to do 30 times 60. And let's just do something totally different. Let's do 90 times 80, because why not? All right, go ahead and solve those and then come back and double check your math. All right, so when I look at 3 times 60, I know that 3 times 6 is 18, but since 60 has been multiplied by 10, I need to multiply 18 by 10, which gives it a 0 at the end. And I'm going to look at this exact same thing, 3 times 60, which already I know is 180, but they multiplied the 3 times 10, which made it 30, which all of a sudden gives me this other 0 here. It makes it 1,800. And then this last little guy over here, I'm going to do a 9 times 8, which is 72. But I multiplied it by 10, and I multiplied the 8 by 10. So really, I multiplied the whole thing by 100, which makes this 72 times 100, or 7,200, 7,200. If you got all those right, you are totally 100% good to go. If you didn't, I encourage you to rewatch the video to see where you've gone wrong. And that's it for multiplying by multiples of 10.
Quick question.
Yeah, hang on.